It's 1969. Neil Armstrong walks on the moon. One small step, one giant leap. This moment was the culmination of years of intense effort, innovation, and determination. The Apollo 11 mission was not just a scientific achievement, but a testament to human spirit and ingenuity. As Armstrong's boot touched the lunar dust, the world held its breath, united in awe and wonder. Everyone on Earth is amazed. The impossible became possible. People gathered around their television sets, eyes glued to the screen, hearts pounding with excitement. The streets were filled with celebrations, and the air was thick with a sense of collective achievement. It was a moment that transcended borders and brought humanity together in a shared sense of pride and wonder. The Americans won the space race. It was a scary but exciting competition between countries with different beliefs. The space race was more than just a technological contest. It was a battle of ideologies, a struggle for supremacy between two superpowers. The launch of the Saturn V rocket was a powerful symbol of American determination and technological prowess. The sight of the American flag on the moon was a clear message to the world: the United States had triumphed. It seemed over. But secretly, the Soviets planned their return. They wouldn't give up. Behind the scenes, the Soviet space program was working tirelessly, driven by a fierce determination to reclaim their position in the space race. Engineers and scientists pored over blueprints and mission plans, fueled by a relentless drive to succeed. The competition was far from over. It had merely entered a new phase. The Cold War continued. Apollo 11, a symbol of American pride, was now history. The mission had left an indelible mark on the world, but the geopolitical tensions that fueled the space race were still very much alive. The astronauts returned to Earth as heroes, but the shadow of the Cold War loomed large, casting a pall over the celebrations. The American flag on the lunar surface stood as a reminder of what had been achieved, but also of the challenges that lay ahead. But space, huge and dangerous, still held secrets. People still wanted to explore, to push limits. The vast expanse of the cosmos beckoned, filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Astronauts trained rigorously, preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. The spirit of exploration was alive and well, driving humanity to reach further, to dream bigger, and to push the boundaries of what was possible. Apollo 12 went to the moon, a good mission, but not as exciting as the first. The mission was a success, demonstrating the reliability and capability of the Apollo program. The astronauts conducted experiments, collected samples, and furthered our understanding of the lunar environment. Yet it lacked the groundbreaking excitement of Apollo 11. The world watched, but the sense of wonder had dimmed slightly, replaced by a growing sense of routine. And so it was time for Apollo 13. A mission meant for greatness, or so everyone thought. The crew was ready, the rocket was prepared, and the world anticipated another successful journey to the moon. But space is unpredictable, and the mission would soon face challenges that no one could have foreseen. The story of Apollo 13 would become one of the most dramatic and inspiring tales of human ingenuity and perseverance in the face of adversity. April 11th, 1970. At Launch Complex 39A, the huge Saturn V rocket stood in the Florida sunshine. Inside the small command module, 3 astronauts got ready for the biggest trip of their lives. Jim Lovell, a space veteran, looked calm and confident. Fred Hayes, a rookie on his first mission, was nervous but excited. And Jack Swigert, a last-minute replacement, was ready to go. The countdown started. Apollo 13 blasted off, leaving fire and smoke behind. Two days into the mission, something normal was happening. Stirring the oxygen tank, a standard check. Suddenly, bang! The spacecraft shook. Alarms went off. Lights flashed red. Houston, we have a problem. Lovell's calm voice made the problem sound very serious. Back on Earth at Mission Control, everyone was scared. The oxygen tank, the most important thing for their mission, was broken. Pressure dropped. Power went down. The dream of landing on the moon was gone. Now they just needed to survive. 55 hours and 54 minutes into the mission. Stirring the oxygen tanks, something they did regularly, became a terrible memory. The spacecraft shook. A loud bang echoed inside. Something was wrong. What was that? Hayes asked, worried. Lovell, with all his experience, stayed calm on the outside. Instruments went crazy. Warning lights flashed red. Houston, we have a problem. The world heard those words but didn't know how serious it was. The astronauts' mission, their lives, were in danger. In Houston, Texas, at Mission Control, everyone started working fast. They saw the bad news coming in. The oxygen was going down. Power was all over the place. Apollo 13, once a symbol of pride, was now in trouble. Gene Kranz, the flight director, took charge. Failure was not an option. Every second mattered. They had to bring their astronauts home. Let's work the problem, people. Everyone was busy. This was a fight for survival, and time was running out. Up in space, Lovell, Hayes, and Swigert knew they were in trouble. Their spacecraft was now a broken lifeboat. They were running out of oxygen and power. Their guidance system wasn't working right, but they were alive. They still had a chance. "We are not going to die here," Lovell said. "We are going to get home." They were astronauts, trained for the unexpected. They would fight to survive. The engineers on Earth tried everything to find a solution. The world watched and waited. The solution was risky. The lunar module, meant for landing on the moon, would be their lifeboat. Its engine would get them back on track. Its limited supplies would keep them alive. Carefully, listening to mission control, the astronauts moved into the lunar module. Every move was dangerous. Their survival depended on the smart engineers on Earth and their own ability to survive. The lunar module, called Aquarius, wasn't meant for this. It was small and designed for landing on the moon, not for living in for days. Lovell, Hayes, and Swigert were crowded inside. It got very cold. With the command module's power off, they couldn't use the heaters. The temperature dropped. The cold went right through them. Water formed on everything, dangerous for the electronics. They shivered, their breath making clouds in the dim light. But even though they were scared and uncomfortable, they felt close to each other. Oxygen became the most important thing. The tanks in the lunar module were getting empty. Each breath was precious. The air filled with carbon dioxide, which is bad. The lunar module's system couldn't clean the air fast enough. On Earth, engineers used tape, plastic bags, and anything they could find to make a new air filter. Using things they found on the spacecraft, the astronauts built a temporary filter. The carbon dioxide levels started to go down. They were alive. And that was enough for now. Their plan to fly around the moon and back to Earth was a brilliant idea, but the journey was not over. Aquarius, their damaged lifeboat, was off course. Using the stars with simple tools, they corrected their path. Each time they used the engine, it was a risk. Sleep was short and troubled. Through it all, they talked to Mission Control. "Apollo 13, this is Houston. How do you read?" As they went around the moon, they saw Earth. It looked beautiful and welcoming. Home, so close, but still so far. The command module, their way home, was like a ghost ship, broken and quiet. They had to turn it back on, using the little power they had left. The hours went by slowly. Finally, the command module came back to life. They could start their journey home. Coming back into Earth's atmosphere was a fiery test. The heat shield protecting them from burning up glowed red hot, but it worked. Parachutes opened, slowing them down. The world watched as the capsule splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. Everyone was happy to see those parachutes. Church bells rang, people honked their car horns, and strangers hugged. Against all odds, they had made it. Apollo 13, almost a disaster, showed how strong humans can be. They didn't walk on the moon, but they came home, forever linked by their adventure, remembered as the crew that survived space. The moon, once their goal, was now behind them. It had been a symbol of human achievement, a beacon of hope and curiosity, but now, as it faded into the distance, it became a reminder of the isolation and the vastness of space. The journey to the moon had been filled with excitement, challenges, and the thrill of exploration, but the journey back was different. It was a time for reflection, for understanding the true cost of their adventure. They looked towards Earth, their home, getting bigger as they got closer. The blue planet, with its swirling clouds and vast oceans, was a sight for sore eyes. It represented everything they had left behind: family, friends, and the comforts of everyday life. But as much as they longed to be back, there was a growing realization that they were forever changed by their journey. The Earth, once so familiar, now seemed distant and almost alien. But even though they were going home, they felt very alone. The vastness of space had a way of making even the most connected individuals feel isolated. The silence, the endless void, and the knowledge that they were millions of miles away from any other human being weighed heavily on their minds. They had each other, but the bond they shared was forged in the crucible of survival, not in the warmth of companionship. It was quiet, except for the radio and the life support systems. The hum of the machinery was a constant reminder of their dependence on technology for survival. The radio, once a source of news and entertainment, now only brought static and occasional updates from mission control. The quiet was oppressive, a stark contrast to the bustling life they had left behind on Earth. The excitement of the mission, the closeness they felt when they were in danger, was replaced by a quiet understanding of their situation. They had faced the unknown, conquered their fears, and achieved something extraordinary. But now, in the stillness of their return journey, they were left with their thoughts and the reality of their isolation. The camaraderie that had been their lifeline during the mission was now a silent bond, unspoken but deeply felt. They ate cold, tasteless food, feeling sick from hunger, stress, and not enough water. The rations, designed for efficiency and nutrition, lacked the comfort and flavor of a home-cooked meal. Each bite was a reminder of their distance from home, and the physical toll of space travel was evident in their weary faces. The stress of the mission, combined with the harsh conditions of space, had taken its toll on their bodies and minds. Sleep was filled with bad dreams of being lost in space. The subconscious mind, unable to escape the reality of their situation, conjured up nightmares of drifting endlessly in the void. The cramped quarters offered little comfort, and the constant hum of the spacecraft made it difficult to find peace. Each night was a battle for rest, and each morning brought the same stark reality. They knew they could still die. The journey was far from over, and the dangers of space travel were ever present. Every system check, every instrument reading was a reminder of the fragility of their existence. The tension was palpable, and the weight of their responsibility hung heavy in the air. They were pioneers, but they were also human, with all the fears and vulnerabilities that came with it. Every cough, every shiver, every change in the oxygen level reminded them of the danger. The human body, not designed for the harsh environment of space, was constantly at risk. The slightest malfunction, the smallest error, could spell disaster. They were acutely aware of their mortality, and each moment was a delicate balance between hope and fear. They were alone in the stars, hoping to get home safe. The vastness of space, with its infinite beauty and endless mysteries, was both a source of awe and a reminder of their isolation. They were a tiny speck in the cosmos, but they carried with them the hopes and dreams of humanity. As they looked out at the stars, they held on to the hope that they would return home, not just as astronauts, but as symbols of human resilience and the unyielding spirit of exploration. Back at Mission Control, people felt hopeful, but also worried. The engineers had given Apollo 13 a chance, but coming back into Earth's atmosphere was very dangerous. If the angle was too steep, the spacecraft would burn up. Too shallow, and it would bounce off the atmosphere and be lost in space. They did the math many times, but they still weren't sure. Too many things could go wrong. They had done everything they could. But now it was up to luck, to space itself. The world waited, hoping the astronauts would come home safe. Everyone, everywhere wanted them to survive. It was time. Lovell, Hayes and Swigert got ready. They heard the final words from Mission Control. They were very tense inside the small capsule. Then it started. The spacecraft shook as it hit Earth's atmosphere at over 24,000 miles per hour. It got very hot outside, like a meteor. For 4 long minutes, they were surrounded by fire and noise. The force pushed them down hard. The radio, their only connection to Earth, was cutting out. Then, suddenly, the fire stopped. The pressure eased. The radio came back. They had made it. They were coming home. Earth looked beautiful through the window, blue and green, with clouds and the promise of life. After days in the cold spacecraft, seeing Earth made them feel relieved and thankful. Parachutes opened, slowing them down. The Pacific Ocean came closer. The splashdown was gentle. The capsule floated, a small sign of human cleverness in the huge ocean. Helicopters flew overhead and divers jumped into the water to help the three heroes who had survived space. As they were lifted out of the capsule, the rescue crew cheered. They were home. They had survived. The world celebrated. Apollo 13, almost a tragedy, showed how strong humans can be. The three astronauts, almost lost in space, were now heroes. The mission didn't land on the moon, but it did something more important. It showed the cleverness and determination of the astronauts and the engineers who worked to bring them home. The world watched, scared and hopeful. Everyone wanted them to be safe. The return of Apollo 13 reminded everyone that we are all human and that we can work together when things are bad. Apollo 13 taught us more than just about space. It showed how smart and determined people can be. Their story inspired many people. Apollo 13 showed that going to space takes skill, but also courage, adaptability, and a will to live. The mission, which was intended to be a routine trip to the moon, quickly turned into a life-or-death struggle when an oxygen tank exploded. This unexpected disaster tested the mettle of everyone involved, from the astronauts aboard the spacecraft to the engineers and technicians on the ground. It was a moment that highlighted the true essence of human resilience and ingenuity. The astronauts showed these qualities in abundance. They had trained for years, preparing for every possible scenario, but nothing could have fully prepared them for the crisis they faced. Yet they remained composed, drawing on their training and their inner strength to navigate the perilous situation. Jim Lovell, the commander, stayed calm and led his crew with a steady hand. His experience and leadership were crucial in those tense moments. Lovell's ability to remain composed under pressure was a testament to his character and his dedication to the mission. He communicated clearly with both his crew and mission control, ensuring that everyone was on the same page. Fred Hayes, the rookie, was strong and resourceful. Despite being the least experienced member of the crew, Hayes proved his worth through his quick thinking and problem-solving skills. He worked tirelessly to help stabilize the spacecraft and keep the mission on track, demonstrating that even the newest members of a team can make significant contributions in times of crisis. Jack Swigert, the replacement, was adaptable and brave. Swigert had joined the mission at the last minute, yet he quickly adapted to the situation and played a key role in the crew's survival. His ability to remain calm and focused, despite the overwhelming odds, was a crucial factor in the mission's eventual success. But the real heroes were also the engineers and technicians at Mission Control. These unsung heroes worked around the clock, using their expertise and creativity to devise solutions to the myriad problems that arose. Their dedication and teamwork were instrumental in bringing the astronauts home safely. They worked hard and smart, turning a possible disaster into a success story. The engineers and technicians at Mission Control demonstrated the power of collaboration and the importance of thinking outside the box. Their ability to remain calm under pressure and their relentless pursuit of solutions were key factors in the mission's success. Apollo 13 is remembered not just for space exploration, but for how strong the human spirit can be. The mission stands as a testament to the resilience and determination of the human race. It showed that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, we have the capacity to overcome challenges and emerge stronger. It reminds us that even though space is dangerous, humans can overcome any problem, survive any hardship, and become stronger together. The story of Apollo 13 continues to inspire generations, reminding us of the incredible feats we can achieve when we work together and never give up. It is a powerful example of the indomitable human spirit and the boundless possibilities of exploration and innovation.